Okay. I think what is interesting about pop-up stores is not only that it's a more agile way to do retail, especially for emerging brands, but also that you can really do retail in places where it wasn't meant for retail in the first place. We have done things on hotel rooftops, on boats, on all kinds of different places, and I think that for also major brands like Unilever and other big players, it's quite interesting because it creates a shopper experience that's different from what they're used to.
To focus on the pop-up side, we had a call actually between a few of us before this session to just run through what we were going to talk about. And what was very interesting was understanding the definition of what a pop-up was, because I think we all might have a different view of what a pop-up is. So within INTU shopping centres, we have two different types of pop-ups. We have experiences that happen within the main centre walkways of the malls. We do about 1,200 of those annually. And, you know, they, in terms of time, they can pop up from, a 3-day to they can be there for a year, 2 years. So there's lots of different times, but they're very experiential. A lot of it's about brand experience. For them to work well, you have to invest in them. And it's the same for the second type of pop-up we have, which is an inline unit or shop. We don't have that much vacant space, so it's tricky to do 1,200 of those a year. And obviously, from our point of view, we would only do a pop-up in an inline unit for specific reasons. So if a retailer was testing a location in order to have a longer term store, then we would consider that. If their brand experience was exceptional, I'm thinking of Magnum here actually, we would consider it on the basis that it's added value to our visitors. If you had a service that we didn't have in the shopping centre, again, that was added value, we would consider it. So we probably did last year about half a dozen of those. BMW and Mini, we did obviously they own Mini, so we did a joint pop-up. It was an amazing brand experience. It was in there for 6 weeks. The difference between the two is the inline unit is much more sort of up close and personal. You get less traffic, because when you're mid-mall and you're in the walkway, you're quite disruptive. So as the flows of, 500,000 people who are in our malls a day are walking by, you are inundated with people. But it's quicker. You can sell on the mall. It's a much faster experience.
Yes.
Where in line, it's much more up close and personal. To do it well and for it to be sustainable, you have to really invest not just in the experience that you're creating within the space, but also you have to really leverage social media in order to get the best value and create a campaign around it. And at INTUDIGITAL, we work very closely with our retailers, not only in terms of the physical space, but also the digital, Wi-Fi takeover, the mobile experience, just the whole omni-channel experience of the brand.
Today, the activity of the pop-up store is beginning more and more important. The revenues that we make with this kind of activities doubling every year. So we now have a dedicated team to this activity. What is interesting for us, it's not to fill empty spaces, since there are almost no empty spaces in the shopping centers, but much more to increase and to have a much more exciting customer experience. And the revenues that we make from this activity can be higher than in classical with classical leases. Okay. today we can do up to 4, 5, 6,000 euro per square meter with this activity.
But I think the thing to remember about pop-up is it is really hard work. There's a lot of hard work involved in a pop-up, and if it's going to be successful, that hard work starts a long time before you open the doors. So it's a concerted effort and it's very focused, and that's what drives a really great result from a pop-up. So I think from a brand point of view, I know that I've got a lot of work to do in 2016, 2017. From a landlord point of view or an agent point of view, I think you need to think about, as well as the great experience and what it brings to your business, is just how focused the brand is on delivering success.
So 2 years ago, people were looking, when they were looking for space, they were looking for the minimum period. And now we're starting to get stuff for Q4 2016, which makes for accounting being quite interesting. But I did want to make one point. In terms of shopping centers, I'll just start a little controversy here, because we did an amazing project with Corio, which thankfully Klépierre bought Corio, and now we can talk about it. But we created a pop-up village in a mall in Berlin that was absolutely extraordinary. It's exactly what you were talking about in bringing these small guys in. And I love the big branded stuff, and I think the big branded stuff is interesting. And I would say if it's too hard, that's because you're trying to do it as retail, not as events. To make it easier, after this experience we had, we now have, if you go to the We Are pop-up site, and you'll see space, but then you'll see brands. And if you click on brands, we have so far about 1,000 small emerging brands. And talk about social media. When they create a profile, they plug in their social media accounts. It takes them about 1 minute to make a profile using this. And then we start matching them based on their social media histories and who they are. And through this now, all of a sudden, we have little brands, little ice cream brands that can compete with you. And the other thing that we do, because you guys wouldn't give us space, we mobilized all of the space. So we launched in New York with ShopShare 24 days ago, and we've done 50 deals in the last 24 days. It's viral, it's happening naturally. And in terms of how interested the guys are, the first thing that Klépierre did when they bought Corio was to cancel our contract.
I will finish on these latest operations, special operations that we are doing right now on the Parvis of Saint-Lazare, which is a very an area with lots of traffic. And you have approximately 700,000 people a day walking through this Parvis de la Gare Saint-Lazare.
In a transit zone, so.
Exactly. So the idea was to open 21 pop-up stores at the same time on this area. So we are here right now. We have opened on November the 7th. It's going to last until December the 25th. And it's a very exciting operation going on.